Don't call me a fool. Yes, don't call me a fool. Ecclesiastes 4 and verse 5 says that the fool folded his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Would you want to eat your own flesh? Would you want to be a fool? No, no, no. Don't call me a fool. It is a serious thing that we have to break down. And it is a serious matter when one is willing to eat their own flesh. Why would you eat yourself alive? Are you of a sound mind? Greetings and welcome once again to another exciting session on Wife Only. Indeed, we are here to discuss marriage or mirage, covenant or contract, as we explore the dynamics of what is entailed in a marriage relationship, how it benefits both the men and the women, the children, and even the society at large. Now, for the moment that you have been waiting for, let us get into the meat of the matter of meat that you came here to devour. With yours truly, Kareem Ainsley, the wife lifestyle strategist. In the breaking the vow, you become a fool. Yes, 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 yes. So when you get married, you make a vow, you make a commitment. But in breaking that vow, you become a fool. The fool folded his hands together. I am not going to work on my relationship, and eat at his own flesh. So you're folding your hand and you're eating your own flesh. So basically, you're killing yourself alive. This is very serious. Breaking a vow is so serious that it presents the idea that you're a foolish individual, because you're foolish in making the vow that you know you wouldn't adhere to. Second, you're foolish because you broke the vow that you claim that you would have kept. No, you're a deceiver, you're a liar. There is so much impurity that exists. Before you think of marriages, you must count the cost. Yes, you have to count the cost. You have to know if this is for you. It's not about the glam, the glitter, and the marriage ceremony, because many persons get married for the marriage ceremony and not for the marriage itself. I know that the females like to dress up in these paganic practices of wearing the dress, wearing the covering on the face, wearing the ring on the finger. All of those practices are not biblical practices. They are paganic practices. And you're going to understand that they may be keeping you more in bondage than anything else. But society has dictated to us that, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. But I want you to think about the bigger picture. Who is reaping the rewards when you buy all these things that you actually don't need? Why would you spend exorbitant amount of money on a dress that you'll wear only once and throw it in the garbage and have a divorce? That doesn't make any sense. But the society is doing it, and then the people of God decide, hey, this is a good idea, let us do it. But that is not the way that God intended it. But many persons are not reading the thus saith the Lord, and as such, they are making the same mistakes that the people of the world are making. But I don't want you to make this mistake. God doesn't want you to make those mistakes. Other persons have already made those mistakes, so those mistakes are not for us to make. So let us get into the meat of the matter that we are here to devour. So before we get married, we have to count the cost. It is the individual that you are desirous of spending the rest of your life with on a roller coaster ride of life. Through its crucible, the perplexities that may come upon you, through the pleasures and even through the pressures. In the Old Testament, we see the covenant being expressed towards the people of God. God the Father, which is the husband, which equals the head. We're going somewhere. Israel is the wife, which is the help. So we're seeing the relationship of God and Israel, God the Father and Israel. All right, good. Then we're seeing the husband, we're seeing the wife, we're seeing the head, and we're seeing the help. Submission is not horrible, it is honorable. I want to repeat that just for clarity. Submission is not horrible, it is honorable. And when you get that, let me hear you say, you are right. If a woman wants you, guess what's going to happen? She's willing to do whatever it takes in order to get her desires fulfilled. If as a woman, you want to do whatever you desire to do, and whatever you feel, whatever comes to your mind, then it means that you do not qualify to be even considered a woman. The type of mentality which only hurt you, not only you as a woman, but also the man in which you end up engaging in a relationship with. Remember we talk about we don't want women to be help downs? We don't want women to be hindrances. Well, when a woman refuses to submit to the will of the man based on the unified vision of the family, creating a division, it means then that that woman is a hindrance to the work of God and to the vision of the family. And as a woman, as a wife, you need to understand that you cannot be a helpmeet and a hindrance simultaneously. You have to choose that which is in the family's best interest. Remember, we talk about marriage. Marriage is a selfless act, it is a selfless exercise. So, we need to understand that though people may not like it, that just the way God has set it up. And that is why we have to die daily to self and selfish desires. Yes, self and selfish desires need to go away for us to enjoy marriage as our marriage was intended to be enjoyed. Let us look at it from another perspective. Would you feel comfortable if Israel was the head of God? Let me just ask a quick question. Let us flip the script. Remember, God is the head. Israel is a woman. Would you feel comfortable if Israel became the head of God? That would not sit well with me. And God would have usurped his authority had he allowed such to happen. And that will not happen, right? So no, that does not make any sense logically, all right? So why in the world would you believe that the woman should be the head of the household when God created the woman for the man and not man for the woman? When God gave the man specific instructions saying that the man is the head and you are supposed to rule. But this rulership should be in one accord, which means that the two need to be in the same mind, in the same frequency, on the same level of consciousness. So this is very important for us to understand and dissect. So now we have that clearly. Let us get even a little further. In the same way, God the Father set up the Old Testament laws, and in submission to the law, it brings about obedience to God. The same principle applies to the marriage relationship. Yes, indeed, it applies to the marriage relationship. The Old Testament law that God gave to Israel was a covenant. In the same way, the marriage is a covenant between a man and a woman. In that covenant, Israel should obey and submit to the will of God. In the same way, the wife is to obey and submit to her husband. I know that you may be saying to yourself, why do I have to obey and submit? Is this really necessary? Yes, it is actually necessary if you want the best kind of relationship. And that is why I always advise women to whatever man that you're looking at, to allow yourself to be elected, to be selected in accepting a proposal from. You have to ensure that you're willing to submit to that individual for the rest of your life. If that person has flaws and character traits that you see are not in cohesion with your desires, they are not compatible, then you have the right to say no. Unless you want to create a disaster, because I know that females can have a very strong will And a lot of females don't matriculate into become women. And if they don't matriculate in becoming women, then they are not suitable to become wives. And you may be saying, but what about the arranged marriages? I will say this in the arranged marriage situation. Even if the marriage is arranged, a woman can still submit to her husband. She can love her husband in the manner that her husband needs to be loved, even in an arranged situation. And I've seen it happen multiple times before. And to be honest, those marriages tend to last longer than those marriages which are under contract in any way, shape, or form. The Western world has somewhat desecrated the sanctity of this institution. And because they have given so much queer thoughts and presented so much queer ideologies, it has caused queer results to occur in many marriages. That is why in the West in 2023, we have over 50% of marriages ending in divorce. And the more times you get married, the higher the likelihood of you getting another divorce. So some persons run through divorces like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And these things, and we're talking about women because 80%, approximately 80% based on statistics of women in the year 2023 are the ones that actually file for divorce in the Western world. And we're talking about America's when we're saying the Western world. And yes, this has filtered out into the other Western nations as well, because everybody is looking to America for guidance and for instruction, even when they are going and behaving in a reprobate state. You're right, but that is something for another discussion, another conversation. But nevertheless, this practice will continue if we don't get ourselves in proper order so that we can secure our families, so that they can have both a father and a mother in the household as how it was intended, so the children can see the structural design that are necessary for a safe space for the children. And we're not talking about a safe space that is a safe space for people who have different ideation. We're talking about a safe space for the cultivation of a child so that they can grow in the fear and admonition of the Lord. But we have more scriptures to cover. However, before we get further in, we're going to take a pause so that you can ruminate on the information that we have just presented. We want to just thank you for spending some more quality time with us as we engage in this period of study. It is indeed a blessing to have been able to serve you, and I hope indeed that you were blessed. But don't forget to share your blessing with someone else. As we always say, be the wife you were meant to be. Until next time, when we meet again on the inside. Signing out from Wife Only is Kareem Ainsley, the wife lifestyle strategist. Be blessed.